I thought I understood power scaling until I analyzed Omni-Man versus Gamma Jack. What I discovered completely changed everything I believed about superhero fights. So in this video, I'm going to reveal why it isn't even close, show you the one factor that makes victory impossible for one of the characters, and expose the shocking difference that ends this fight before it even begins. And trust me, what you're about to learn will change how you look at every superhero battle comparison. Now, here's what most people don't realize about Omni-Man's true power level. Omni-Man has superhuman strength, is able to easily lift immense amounts of weight, tear through virtually any matter, and only continues to gradually grow stronger the more he struggles and ages. But that's just the surface. I've analyzed his most casual feats, and they are terrifying. Omni-Man was punching Mark so hard that he was shaking entire mountains, and doing this repeatedly. In fact, Omni-Man was sending Mark all over the planet, causing earthquakes each time he landed. And remember, he was holding back against Mark. But here's where it gets crazy. This wasn't even serious combat. Nolan was trying to convince Mark to join him, not even kill him. When I realized the implications of this restraint, everything clicked. The sheer scale of destruction from casual punches reveals power levels that transcend human comprehension. Each impact generated seismic activity across multiple tectonic plates. We're talking about force output that rivals natural disasters, delivered repeatedly without visible effort or strain. He's got super speed, is able to close tremendous distances in seconds, and likewise react to the fastest of opponents. This speed advantage becomes the key to understanding why Gamma Jack has zero chance. But there's something even more shocking about Viltrumite travel capabilities that most people miss. The numbers are so extreme that they break conventional physics. I'll reveal it after we examine what Gamma Jack brings to this fight. Now, let me show you exactly what Gamma Jack can do. Gamma Jack's superpower was the ability to create controlled bursts of radiation, from focused burns to complete disintegration. On paper, that sounds devastating. His power came with specific parameters that defined its effectiveness. Radiation bursts, Gamma Jack's primary superpower, was the ability to create controlled bursts of radiation, from focused burns to complete disintegration. The maximum range of this high-intensity burst was 100 meters before a sharp intensity fall-off. Here's where things get interesting. The 100-meter effective range represents optimal combat distance for terrestrial superhero engagements. Within this envelope, Gamma Jack could theoretically engage most opponents with devastating force projection. Complete disintegration suggests atomic-level disruption capabilities. I need to show you something about Gamma Jack's threat level that changes everything. When it comes to raw power, Gamma Jack ranks just below Mr. Incredible on the official scale. Just to reiterate, Mr. Incredible scored a 9.1 threat rating, and Gamma Jack was right behind him with a 7.9, making him one of the top superheroes in the verse. He's literally one of the strongest heroes in his universe. This threat rating places Gamma Jack among the elite combat operatives of his era. The Incredibles universe maintains detailed power scaling assessments, suggesting sophisticated understanding of superhuman capabilities. A 7.9 rating indicates planet-level defensive value. Radiokinetic flight. Using his radioactive powers, Gamma Jack could achieve flight. While flying, he left a faint trail of green-tinged gamma radiation behind him. This gives him aerial mobility advantages. The radiation trail creates tactical complications. Stealth approaches become impossible, but it also provides area denial capabilities. Enemy pursuers would face continuous radiation exposure during aerial engagement scenarios. But what most people don't know about Gamma Jack's psychology will shock you. There's a critical weakness that would doom him against any serious opponent, but first, let me reveal that speed feat I mentioned earlier. Before I do that though, if you're enjoying this video so far and want to join my Discord server filled with other comic fans, click the link in the description now. This is the moment everything changes. When he left Earth, he decided to travel to another planet, and that journey took him about a week. But this wasn't just any planet. This is a planet in the Virgo supercluster, which is 65 million light years away from the Earth. He traveled that span in just about a week, making him massively faster than the speed of light.
You must learn what makes me
Let me put this in perspective for you. The mathematics here are staggering. 65 million light years in 1 week translates to approximately 3.4 billion times faster than light speed. For comparison, information traveling at light speed would take 65 million years to cover the same distance. Gamma Jack operates at human reaction speeds. His nervous system processes information at roughly 100 meters per second. Omni-Man moves at significant fractions of light speed, billions of times faster than human cognitive processing. When I calculated the math, I couldn't believe the results. By the time Gamma Jack's brain processes that Omni-Man has moved, Nolan could have circled the Earth thousands of times. The human visual system requires approximately 13 milliseconds to process basic movement detection. In 13 milliseconds, moving at a billion-fold light speed, Omni-Man could traverse the distance between Earth and Mars multiple times. The temporal mismatch eliminates any possibility of tactical response or defensive measures. Omni-Man put down the Guardian even faster. They didn't even have the chance to react to his attacks. He's well faster than Invincible during their first fight. Invincible is legitimately moving in slow motion. The Guardians were Earth's premier superhero team, and they appeared frozen relative to his movement. But here's what really made me realize this matchup is impossible. Red Rush was a speedster, and even he couldn't react. Like, he was blatantly faster than Red Rush, and he couldn't even react to him grabbing his head and bashing it together with another Guardians. Whereas in the show, they're pretty relative in speed, with Red Rush being slightly faster. If a super speedster can't track Omni-Man, what chance does a human have? Red Rush represented Earth's fastest defender, optimized specifically for velocity-based combat and reconnaissance. His superhuman reflexes and accelerated perception should have provided adequate reaction time against conventional threats. The fact that Red Rush appeared motionless relative to Omni-Man's combat speed demonstrates power scaling that transcends terrestrial superheroes entirely. When dedicated speedsters cannot track your movement, you operate on cosmic scales. Now, I need to show you that critical flaw I mentioned. The NSA files also describe him as a super supremacist, believing that supers are a superior race, and that he's frequently prone to tyrannical and megalomaniacal impulses. This arrogance would prevent him from recognizing the true threat. The supremacist mindset creates catastrophic blind spots in threat assessment. Gamma Jack's worldview assumes his power tier represents the apex of possible opposition. Cosmic level threats simply don't register within his conceptual framework. But it gets worse. Choosing to prioritize women he finds most attractive in a dangerous scenario, and then working down the list, looking down at anyone he finds unattractive and saving them last. His tactical decisions are based on attraction, not strategy. This represents fundamental combat dysfunction. Professional military engagement requires objective threat prioritization based on tactical necessity, not personal preference. Gamma Jack's decision-making process would collapse under serious operational pressure. When I discovered this next detail, I realized Gamma Jack isn't just outmatched. He's fundamentally unprepared for serious combat. He gets so damn bad horny when encountering a female supervillain and nonchalantly describes his frustration and difficulty with having to kill them, and the fact that unlike every other hero in these tapes, he is incredibly open about the fact that he just straight up kills people. An opponent who can't maintain tactical focus would be obliterated. The psychological profile reveals someone who treats superhero work as personal gratification rather than professional responsibility. His casual approach to lethal force suggests overconfidence born from facing inferior opposition. Compare this to Omni-Man's clinical efficiency. In addition to having all the generic powers and abilities of a Viltrumite, Omni-Man ranks among the most powerful Viltrumites to ever exist, physically stronger than most and a master combatant with centuries of experience. 2,000 years of conquest experience versus a distracted Golden Age hero. Omni-Man possesses immense longevity. This stems from a decelerated aging process, gradually aging slower the older he gets, allowing him to retain his youthful health, vitality, conditioning, and appearance for an incalculably long time. At over 2,000 years old, he has only begun to show signs of aging while still physically performing in his prime. Millennia of combat refinement versus decades of casual superheroics. But here's the factor that makes this completely impossible, and it's not what you think. Remember that 100-meter effective range thing I mentioned? His attacks were effective up to 100 meters, after which the intensity obviously dropped pretty sharply. This became meaningless against faster-than-light opponents. Let me show you why. If Omni-Man approaches at even 1% of light speed, speed, he covers 100 meters in 0.000000033 seconds. Hopefully I got that right. Human reaction time is roughly 0.25 seconds for visual stimuli. The temporal mathematics create impossible scenarios. Visual processing requires light to travel from Omni-Man's position to Gamma Jack's eyes, then neural transmission to the brain, cognitive recognition, decision-making, and finally motor response initiation. By the time Gamma Jack sees Omni-Man, processes the threat, and initiates his radiation burst, Nolan has already crossed the engagement envelope 7.5 million times. This isn't even close. It's mathematically impossible. The 100-meter range assumes both combatants operate within similar time frames. When one participant exists in accelerated temporal reference frames, range advantages become theoretical abstractions. He is nigh invulnerability, immune to all forms of illness or contamination, and able to withstand physical harm from all but the strongest of dangers. But even if radiation is somehow connected, Viltrumite physiology operates on cosmic scales. While still needing air, Omni-Man can endure weeks holding his breath and likewise can survive the vacuum of space unprotected, allowing for unaided interstellar travel.
I stepped when I am not there. I sleep beneath the golden. As you go down, it is neither stop. When I am on a pedestal, you did not.
Space exposure includes radiation levels far exceeding anything terrestrial sources produce. Cosmic radiation represents energy densities that dwarf planetary sources. Solar wind carries charged particles at hundreds of kilometers per second. Galactic cosmic rays achieve energies measured in joules per individual particle. Here's something that shocked me when I researched Viltrumite weaknesses. Viltrumite skin is very hard to penetrate due to its incredibly fast healing factor. However, the healing factor is broken down when exposed to intense heat. This requires stellar level temperatures. Stellar core temperatures reach 15 million Kelvin. Surface temperatures of massive stars exceed 50,000 Kelvin. Gamma Jack's radiation operates at human scale energy outputs designed for terrestrial matter disruption. The gap between terrestrial radiation and stellar heat is astronomical, quite literally. Nuclear weapons achieve temperatures of roughly 100 million Kelvin for microseconds. Even these extreme conditions represent a fraction of stellar core energy densities. Gamma Jack's radiation operates at human scale energy outputs. But what really convinced me this matchup is impossible was examining Omni-Man's healing factor. He has an enhanced healing factor, able to recover from all damage he does sustain, except the most grievous harm to his heart or brain, in anywhere from minutes to a single day, depending on the level of harm, with no lingering side effects. Even theoretical damage would heal faster than Gamma Jack could sustain offensive pressure. The regenerative timeline creates tactical impossibilities. If Gamma Jack somehow connected with radiation bursts, the damage would heal within minutes. His maximum rate of fire couldn't match Viltrumite's cellular regeneration rates. He has nigh limitless stamina, able to continue his exertions for long periods of time with no effects to his performance, and endure any damage he does sustain unhindered. Unlimited endurance versus human scale energy reserves. Let me show you why Omni-Man's performance against Earth's premier superhero team proves this matchup is impossible. His joints possess exceptional flexibility, enabling him to perform incredible feats such as effortlessly evading most attacks and maintaining flawless coordination. Even Red Rush, the speedster, couldn't avoid Nolan's attacks. The Guardian Massacre provides crucial combat data for analyzing cosmic tier engagement scenarios. Earth's defenders represented diverse power sets, coordinated teamwork, and decades of combined experience. Aside from Red Rush, Immortal does have the best feats on Omni-Man, and he was the first one that Omni-Man tried to go after, so if Omni-Man views him as his greatest threat, the Immortal possessed comparable strength and centuries of combat experience. Even with superhuman durability, millennia of experience, and tactical awareness of Omni-Man's capabilities, the Immortal fell within seconds. His comparative power levels exceeded anything Gamma Jack could achieve. The tactical implications became even more devastating when examining team coordination factors. The Guardians operated with established communication protocols, predetermined tactical formations, and complementary power combinations. Despite every advantage, numerical superiority, defensive positioning, coordinated attacks, and diverse abilities, the entire team fell before they could mount effective resistance. Individual heroes operating alone face exponentially worse odds. The combat experience differential represents another insurmountable barrier. 2 millennia of conquest conquest operations across multiple star systems provides tactical knowledge that terrestrial heroes cannot match. Gamma Jack operated during Earth's Golden Age, facing human-scale threats with comprehensible limitations. Viltrumite military doctrine emphasizes planetary subjugation through overwhelming force application. Combat training assumes opponents possess diverse energy-based abilities, advanced technology, and coordinated resistance strategies. One of the more important feats listed on Operation Chronos records is that Gamma Jack successfully destroyed Omnidroid version 5, a very deadly combat robot designed by Syndrome to specifically kill the superheroes he's based. Gamma Jack's greatest victory was against 1960s era technology. The Omnidroid represents human engineering optimized for Golden Age superhuman capabilities. Syndrome's understanding of super abilities was limited to terrestrial power levels and human-scale tactical scenarios. The progression from Omnidroid 5 to Omnidroid 6 demonstrates technological advancement within terrestrial parameters. The leap to cosmic tier alien physiology involves exponentially greater capability gaps. However, he was later killed by the upgraded model, the Omnidroid 6. To put that into perspective, Mr. Incredible. Human technology evolution overwhelmed Gamma Jack's combat capabilities. But here's what happens when cosmic tier movement meets atmospheric physics. He flew through a continent-sized city fast enough to where he was literally causing nuclear-level destruction as he flew around. Basically, how that works is that as he reached light speed, or even just under the speed of light, Nolan was hitting molecules and atoms in the air with so much speed and force that it's causing nuclear fusion leveling continent-sized cities. Casual movement creates nuclear-level destruction. The atmospheric physics involved in near light speed travel create conditions that exceed nuclear weapon effects. Air molecules compressed by relativistic movement achieve fusion-level energy densities. Continental-scale destruction from casual flight patterns demonstrates power levels that transcend conventional superhero conflicts. The battlefield itself becomes a weapon through atmospheric manipulation. Omni-Man's approach would generate sonic booms measured in megatons, electromagnetic pulse effects, and atmospheric displacement equivalent to Category 5 hurricane conditions. The pressure wave alone would incapacitate any human observer before visual contact occurs. Gamma Jack's positioning and targeting became irrelevant when the engagement environment exceeds survivable parameters. His energy blast gave him long-range offensive power. Unlike many suits who need to get up close, Gamma Jack could eliminate targets from a distance with surgical precision. This advantage disappears when facing opponents who can instantly close any distance while generating hurricane force winds. Let me reveal the next factor that makes this impossible. His powers are that he can fire bursts of radiation, which is NSA files described as ranging from focused burns to complete disintegration. Disintegration sounds impressive until you examine the energy requirements. Radiation-based disintegration works by disrupting atomic bonds through electromagnetic interference. The energy required to break molecular structures at range demands massive power output focused through precise delivery systems. Against cosmic tier physiology that survives planetary impacts, this approach faces insurmountable resistance thresholds. Viltrumite cellular density exceeds terrestrial material properties by orders of magnitude. The binding energy of superhuman tissue would require exponentially greater radiation intensity to achieve disintegration effects. Human-scale power sources cannot generate the necessary energy densities. But here's what really sealed it for me. The sustainability factor heavily favors cosmic tier combatants in extended engagements. While Gamma Jack must manage every expenditure and potentially faces fatigue, Omni-Man maintains peak performance indefinitely. The recovery capabilities also demonstrate the futility of attrition-based strategies. Any theoretical damage would heal faster than sustainable offensive pressure could be maintained. When I visualized what this engagement would actually look like, the impossibility became clear. Gamma Jack requires optimal positioning at a 100-meter range with clear sight lines for targeting. The human cognitive architecture cannot process information at the rates necessary to track faster than light movement. Visual cortex processing, decision-making pathways, and motor response systems operate at biochemical speeds. Omni-Man could traverse that distance thousands of times before human visual processing could track his movement. The engagement would end before Gamma Jack's nervous system could process that it had begun. But here's what makes this even more devastating. The psychological impact alone would overwhelm any tactical planning. Facing opponents who violate basic assumptions about physics creates cognitive overload that no human training can prepare you for. The fundamental mismatch in operational tempo creates scenarios where traditional combat becomes meaningless. While Gamma Jack operates on human-scale decision cycles, Omni-Man functions at near instantaneous levels across multiple dimensional scales. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to see everyone that could kill Dr. Doom, click it now.